time for another review with a beer, and as it's back to uni time, I'm going to be reviewing a cheap, affordable printer. Let's do it. Hi guys, it's good to be back. My name's Tony. If you follow me on social media, you'll know that my camera died a couple of weeks back. Now I managed to get a video out that weekend using my phone, but I wasn't happy with the process or the final result. So I took last week off, which was my first week I took off since I started the channel, so I haven't done too bad. But I've got my camera back, and now it's time to get back on track. This week, it's another review with a beer. We'll get into what we're reviewing in a minute, but let's have a look at the beer we've got. This week's beer is a Micro Nipa from the Garden Brewery. I get all my beer from a company called Beer 52, where I get a case every couple of months for one price, and it's a fantastic service and I love the beer they provide. I'll leave a link below. It's not an affiliate link or anything, but if you're interested in that, grab yourself a case, grab yourself a beer and join me for my reviews. Let's get it poured. Spillage. So if this is your first time here, I'd love it if you hit the subscribe button, and if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming. I really appreciate your support. Let's get straight on to what we're doing this week. Now this week I've got a printer for you. Now it's not the latest printer, it's not the most advanced printer, so why have I chosen to do this review? Well, it's back to school time, or more importantly, back to university. I've got a son who turned 18 a couple of weeks ago, and he's off, he's fleeing the home, and he's off to university in 2 weeks. And coming with that, we had to buy him all the stuff for his room, and one of the things that you'll need as a student in university is your own printer. Now, looking at printers I've used before in the home, majority have been HP printers, which we've always been happy about. But some of the parameters that we wanted, we didn't want to spend a fortune on a printer. We don't know how much he's going to use it. But most importantly, we wanted it to be a small printer. Now, we didn't need an all-in-one printer, but quite surprisingly, trying to find just a simple printer at a decent price is actually quite hard. So on searching for something of those parameters, I was really surprised to come across the HP Deskjet 3760. Now this printer, as it says on the box, HP call it the world's smallest all-in-one printer, which sounds great. How expensive is it? It's cheap as chips, as we say up north. I'll leave a link below to Amazon links. They are affiliate links. It won't cost you any more. It'll just give a small kickback to the channel. So let's have a look right from the unboxing all the way through to the conclusion. Have I made the right decision? Does it do what it wants to do? And is it worth the money? Let's have a look. It's a pretty simple unboxing. Let's take a look what you actually get in the box. Okay, so what do we get in the box? Well, as usual, you get your 2 starter cartridges, which I suspect won't last 2 minutes. Standard power cable for your region. Loads of starting paraphernalia and your instructions. And of course, the printer itself. Quite small, as it should be. We'll go into more details on the specs in a minute, on the size, but that's what you get in the box. Now they do say on the box that this is the world's smallest all-in-one printer, which, hey, it is pretty small. Whether that's a good thing or not, we'll soon find out. Just so you can see, it's around 16 inches wide, 7 inches deep, 5.5 inches high. So it is really small and compact, which is one of the reasons why we brought this. So pretty simple, not much in the box. So let's have a look at prices, both for the printer itself and for cartridges. Now, depending on where you go, obviously prices will differ. They're currently on Amazon for £65, although if you're in the UK, I know you can get these for just £40 from Argos and other places. So shop around and you could have yourself a real bargain. Now moving on to the printer cartridges, these take the HP 304 version. Now there's 2 different types. You can either buy the 304 or the 304 XL. The 304 standard version will give you roughly 100 pages per cartridge, and the XL version will give you 300 pages per cartridge according to HP. The price of these vary. For the standard version, you're looking at a £20 price tag, and for the XL version, probably about £30. You also can buy these in twin packs. I'll leave some links below, check them out. So bear in mind the price that you're paying for this printer. It's not a feature-rich printer, but we'll find out soon enough if it does the job. Let's take a closer look at the main body of the printer itself. Okay, so let's take a closer look at some of the features. On top on the right hand side, you have your power button, and moving over to the right hand side, that's where you're going to get your main control panel. Now we will look at this in more detail once it's powered up, but I just want to go through what each one is. Some of them are self-explanatory, some of them aren't, but let's have a look. Okay, so here we've got the display panel, which will show your Wi-Fi signal, your ink levels, and how many prints are coming through. Straight up to the top then, what we've got here is a resume button. So if you've got an error such as a paper jam and the print stops, this will flash. Once you've cleared the jam, you just press that button again and your print jobs will begin. Cancel button, self-explanatory. If you want to cancel that, just press that. Next down here we have the I or the information button, and all that does is simply you press to print and it prints an information page that provides a summary of the printer information and its current status. Next we've got the wireless button. You would press to turn the printer wireless capabilities on or off. If the light is blinking, the wireless capability is on, but the printer is not yet connected to a wireless network. And if you've got a blue light and it stays on, the printer is connected to a wireless network. Underneath that then, you have the web services button. If this is off, you press the printer page that will help you set up the web services. If it's blinking, then there's a problem with that, and you just press the page and it will print off the page to stop that problem. And if the light is steady, then web services are ready for use. Bottom corner, we have the Wi-Fi Direct button. You press this to turn the Wi-Fi Direct on and off. If the light is blinking, then Wi-Fi Direct is capable. Bottom corner, we have the Wi-Fi Direct button. You press this to turn Wi-Fi Direct on and off. If it's blinking, then a device that's capable is trying to connect to the printer, and you press this button to allow the connection. If you need a guide to set up the Wi-Fi Direct, all you need to do is press the Wi-Fi Direct and the information button together, and it will print off a page to set this up. Moving on underneath then, there are a colour and a black and white button. This is for direct copying. Self-explanatory, the colour button you press for a colour copy, and the black button you press for a black and white copy. If you want more than one copy, if you press the button quickly to increase the number of copies, that's how you do that. You can't see it now, but vaguely, right in the middle of these two buttons, there is a copy light. A blinking light indicates that the printer is ready to scan. Okay, and as I mentioned on the screen before, it will show your ink levels. Underneath there you can see the two icons, one for colour, one for black and white, so they'll show the ink levels above that. To the right of that you can just see it, there is also a little light. This is the ink alert light, and it will indicate low ink or cartridge problems. That's everything from the top. Let's have a look at the front of the printer. The first thing here is the flap, so once it opens and it's powered on, the ink cartridges will move into view, so you can change your ink cartridges. We'll go through that once it's powered on. So that's that one, and as with not all printers, if you pull out the drawer from the front, you get your catch tray to prevent your printing going onto the floor. Okay, moving to the back of the printer. There are only two sockets. One of them is for the power and the other one is for a direct connection via USB. Again, this does not come with a USB lead, but they're fairly inexpensive if you want to print directly from a laptop or a PC. And the only other thing on the back, which is probably easy if I show you once it's the right way up. Now, as this is a compact printer, there is no normal paper feed tray that you usually get for loads of paper. On this, you just lift up the back tray, and in there is where you put your paper. Now, I've looked everywhere to find out what the paper capacity is, and I can't find it. So I'm going to do the work for you. I'm going to test this off camera and see how many pieces of paper I can find in there, and I'll let you know later on in the video. The features of this are great. So anyway, now we need to set it up. Now, like most people, when I go to buy stuff, I read the reviews, and I read the reviews quite deeply, to be honest. Now, depending on where you look for this printer, it's quite a mixed review. On Amazon, they're quite favourable. But I searched YouTube for reviews of this printer, and there aren't many. There are some for previous versions, but they're still in the 3700 series of printer. And what I'm seeing in the comments is that this printer is either really hard to set up or really slow on printing. So we're going to see how hard it is to set up now. Let's go through the setup. Okay, so let's go through the setup. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a quick start guide, and I'm going to see if it is as easy as they say, and see if we come into any problems, and we'll have a look at them if and when they occur. Okay, let's get some power into there. Okay, it's now plugged in. I can see there is power going to it. So according to the guide, press the power button. Power button lights up and it's flashing, as it should say. So what we need to do is install the printer cartridges. Now I've already opened the printer cartridges. Now if you watched the unboxing, you would have seen these come out of the box and a full set of cartridges. That is not standard. That was something we added when we brought it. So if you've bought one of these and when you open it you don't get a full set of cartridges, that's not what you're meant to get. Okay, so when you get your printer cartridges, take off the stickers. I'm going to try and do this. As you open the front door, you can see the two printer spaces for the cartridges, and on the door there you can see, tells you which one goes in which. So if we take the colour one first, so printer contacts, they go into the first one, push in until it clicks. That's the coloured one. That's the black one. And close the door. Should pick them up. And as you can see down here, we've got full inks. Although the other setup ones, I suspect there's not much in them. Obviously when you put your inks in, it needs to do its stuff. It'll move back and forward once it settles. Next thing on the quick start guide is to insert paper. As I said earlier, I've done the hard work for you and comfortably, so they're not forced in. You can get 56 sheets of paper into the guide in here, which is more than enough even for a meaty document. Just bear in mind, once you've put your paper in, there is a slider down here to make sure everything lines up. So there is 56 pieces of paper in there. Of course, if you're going to print, although it's not going to fall on the floor here, but you would pull out your tray. As for setting up the printer, that is now set up to print. We just need to start with the Wi-Fi settings and connecting it to your devices should you need to. Now, reading reviews for this in various places, I have seen mixed reviews. And one of the things that people complain about this is setting it up, getting it connected to the Wi-Fi. I can assure you, I have just done this following the instructions and it's set up first time. So I'm not sure what the problem is. Inside the instructions at the front here, there's just 3 steps to follow. One of them is simply hold the wireless and cancel buttons at the same time until the power button starts flashing. Once that's flashing, press and hold the wireless button until that starts flashing, and then press your WPS button on your router. I've just done that for the first time and we are now connected. So doddle, really easy. Okay, the most important bit, let's get onto the printing. Now again, remembering the price of this printer and thinking about some of the comments on the other YouTube channels, how this is really slow. HP states that this will print 7 black and white pages per minute or 6 colour pages per minute. But we'll have a look at the printing now and a quick look at the quality before we move on to the copy and scan. Okay, so now we're set up on the network and we've had a test print of the network pages. I'm going to print a Word document from the PC and let's see how this goes. That's okay, that was 4 pages. Again, let's have a look. Quality of the print. That's fine. You gotta remember what you're paying for here, and for that, it's not brilliant, it's not fast, but it's doing the job. So actually looking at that, it's not that slow. Of course it's slow, you'd expect that from a printer like this. But for printing the odd sheet here or there, 3, 4, 5 pages, no problem. If you're printing a big document, I suggest you get a better printer or go and pay to get it printed at a printer's. Let's have a look now at the copy function and the scanning function and see how it handles those jobs. Okay, so this is an all-in-one printer. So we've checked the printing, we've checked printing from Wi-Fi. Now let's see what it's like as a direct copy. Now, this is your scanner running across the top. There is a space underneath. What I'm going to do is, as I just mentioned on the Wi-Fi Direct, that does print off a Wi-Fi Direct guide. I'm going to make a direct copy. Now to do this, you just simply push the page in. Once it recognizes it, I mentioned before, there's a light in between the 2 copy buttons. You can see it flashing there. That means it's ready to copy. You have 2 options, colour or black and white. As this is a black and white page, we're just going to do it. Now if you want 1, you just press the button and it will copy 1. If you want more than 1, you need to press it repeatedly up to the amount of copies you will need. I ain't going to waste paper or ink, I'm just going to press it once. There's the 1, it's registered 1. It will now run through the scanner. There we go, that's the page now scanned and it will print it off. No issues. Okay, just for clarity, I wanted to see what a colour copy would work like. Now this is a glossy paper, it's double-sided, I'm only going to do one side. So let's look if this works. We've got the flashing light. Let's have one colour copy. Now there is a lot of colour on this page, as you can imagine. I wouldn't suspect we get a lot of copies from this startup cartridge from a print like this, but let's see what happens. Scanned at about the same time. That's quite quick, to be honest. And if we have a look at the 2 pages side by side, it's not bad. I mean, it's not bad at all. Again, you've got to remember what this cost compared to that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now we're going to use the scan function. Now for this, you'll need to download the HP software either to your PC, laptop, or to your phone or tablet. And it uses the scan bar again. Prepare your document for scanning. Push it in there. You will get the flashing white light. On the screen I've put a screen recording from my phone. You can see there it says printer scan. Click on printer scan and there's a scan button. It's pretty simple. Once it's ready, just hit the scan button and it will start scanning the document. Does it in the same way for the copy. Once it goes through there, this will scan to your device. Once it's done there, you can see, you can crop it however you want, adjust the image, and once you're ready, click on next, and there it's ready to be saved to your device for emailing or save for later. I think it works really well. So in conclusion then, it's not a bad printer, to be honest. You've got to remember what you're paying for this. This is a printer for light use, for printing the odd page here and there. If you want a printer for heavy use, this is definitely not for you. You want to go in more higher end. Its plus points then are obviously its price and its compactness. I mean, that's small for an all-in-one printer. Its cons, well, there's only 2 cartridges. The colour cartridge is 1 complete cartridge. It's not like others where you could buy the magenta or the blue separately depending on which one you use the most. You have to buy the colour cartridge as a oneer. It's not a deal breaker. And if you have a look, you don't have to buy HP branded cartridges. There are cheaper cartridges out there that are not HPs. All in all, for what it's used for, I'd say approved. So there you go, another review with a beer. I've got some more planned of these, so get yourself down to Beer 52, get yourself some beer and join me for further reviews. If you enjoyed that, please give me a like, it really does help the algorithm. If you want to see anything reviewed in the future, please leave me a comment, especially if you're using one of these. Tell me what you think about it. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'll leave that up here, and here are a couple of videos that I think you might find interesting. If I don't see you on Tuesday for Tony's tips, I'll see you next week for something else. See you later, guys.